The illegal wildlife trade is devastating species all over the world. As poachers, traffickers, and highly organized criminals are pursuing profit at any cost to reach the high demand of the consumers. Welcome back to Conservation Nomad, everyone. Today I will be starting a mini-series on the illegal wildlife trade. So basically how it's going to work is that today I'm going to talk about the illegal wildlife trade, what it is, and every week I'm going to be trying to talk about another species and how the illegal wildlife trade affects that. So for example, one week I'll do about the rhino, about the elephant, about sea turtles, and it'll kind of unravel like that. And the illegal wildlife trade is a very, very complicated topic. One that hopefully I will be able to convey to you, like the dangers and the importance of it through my videos, but I do not think I can do that perfectly in just this video. I'm going to try and highlight the important things today, kind of very fast, like a quick summary of it. And then hopefully each week when I talk about each species, we'll be getting deeper and deeper and you'll get a better understanding of that. So hopefully you like that. What I want from you before we start is, first of all, I want you to let me know if you want me to put videos up every Wednesday or every Sunday, which one you prefer. Then the next one is comment below what species you would like me to talk about. I'm going to try and cover as many as possible. But if there's one you really, really want me to talk about, just comment that below. Also, let me know if you like this idea of a mini-series or not. I don't want to make like 20 videos if it's something that doesn't interest you guys. Even though it is the subject that intrigues me the most, like this is what I focused my master's on, the illegal wildlife trade. And specifically my dissertation was on demand reduction of sea turtle products. So I'll be talking about that as well. But yeah, so let me know down below and I hope you enjoy. So let's jump right in it. What is wildlife trade? Wildlife trade refers to the commerce of products that are derived from non-domesticated animals or plants, usually extracted from their natural environment or raised under controlled conditions. It can involve the trade of living or dead individuals, tissues such as skins, bones, or meat, or other products. The term wildlife trade actually refers to a mostly legal practice. It covers a wide spectrum of everyday activities and products such as timber use for furniture and building materials, exotic flowers, plants for pets, ingredients for medicines and cosmetics, clothes, shoes, or bags. So wildlife trade, as I said, it's mostly refers to legal trade of wildlife and plant product. So what makes it illegal? That ties into wildlife crime. Wildlife crimes occur both within and across national borders and may include trafficking in wildlife or wildlife products. And wildlife crime, keep in mind, is a huge, huge business. Very, very lucrative and dangerous. It's run by dangerous international networks. Wildlife and animal parts are trafficked all around the world, much like arms and drugs are. By its very nature, it's almost impossible to obtain actual numbers for the value of the illegal wildlife trade. Experts at Traffic, I'll link down below the website for Traffic. It's an organization that specializes in illegal wildlife trade. They monitor the illegal wildlife trade, and they've estimated that it runs to hundreds of millions of dollars every year. So we all know some examples of illegal wildlife trade, such as ivory, rhino horn, skins and bones of tigers and lions and other big cats, scales of pangolin. However, there are other species that are similarly exploited, ranging from marine turtles to timber. Yes, timber can be illegally traded. However, again, as mentioned, not all wildlife trade is illegal. And that's where it gets kind of complicated too. There are tons and thousands of plants and animals that are harvested from the wild and sold legitimately to the markets and to people all around the world. As food, as pets, as ornaments, decorations, clothing, leather, furniture, etc. The list goes on and on. Wildlife trade becomes a problem when it escalates into a crisis, where the increasing proportion is illegal and unsustainable, thus directly threatening the survival of many wildlife species. So, how do we separate illegal from legal wildlife trade? It's very tricky, and that's why this is such a dangerous and delicate trade, let's say, because it's not a clear line. So one thing that does help make it more clear are policies and legislations. The problem with that is that, first of all, every country has its own policies, which makes it complicated. So there is one thing that is pretty much universal. Well, not universal, it's for the 183 countries which are part of this convention, and it's called CITES, the Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. And what it is, it's basically an international agreement between governments which aims to ensure the international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. So CITES, I would say, is one of the main points to reference if something's legal or illegal. So, how does CITES work? CITES works by subjecting international trade in specimens of selected species to certain controls. All import, export, re-export, and introduction from the sea of species covered by the convention has to be authorized through a licensing system. Each party to the convention must designate one or more management authorities in charge of administering the license system and one or more scientific authorities to advise them on the effects of trade on the status of the species. The species covered by CITES are listed in 3 appendices according to the degree of protection they need. So, CITES has 3 appendices, and each one has to do with how threatened or endangered the species is. So, Appendix 1 includes species threatened with extinction. Trade in specimens of these species is permitted only in exceptional circumstances. So these are animals that are nearly extinct, that are highly threatened, such as elephants, such as rhinos, such as pangolins, okay? Those are in Appendix 1. So basically what that means is that in order to transport a live or dead specimen from one of these animals is almost impossible. Appendix 2 includes species not necessarily threatened with extinction, but in which trade must be controlled in order to avoid utilization incompatible with their survival. So an example is the African lion, which even though its populations are not as low as those of elephants and rhinos, which would make them threatened or near threatened, if people continue to trade them at a really high rate, or if they continue to hunt them and poach them, then their populations will drop drastically. So that's why they're in Appendix 2. So they're protected. Even though their population isn't very, very low, it is endangered of becoming low. I hope that makes sense. Appendix 3 contains species that are protected in at least one country, which has asked other CITES parties for assistance in controlling the trade. So, now I'm gonna briefly talk about what is being done by organizations. So there are a lot of organizations that are working on the issue of wildlife trade, and specifically illegal wildlife trade and wildlife crime. I'm not going to be able to mention them all. I'm going to mention the ones I know mostly and where I have gotten most of my information from and I have reached out to. It's World Wildlife, it's EIA, Environmental Investigation Agency, and the organization I mentioned before, Traffic. So what is being done by these organizations? Most organizations are focused on achieving a sustained reduction in illegal wildlife trade by increasing the risks and reducing the rewards associated with trading in wildlife. thereby reducing the criminal motivation and engagement in the illicit trade that is driving the poaching crisis. So they focus on tackling wildlife crime and illegal wildlife along the entire trade chain, from source to destination. They work with the enforcement agencies along supply chains to ensure they are equipped to detect, identify, and prevent illegal trade. So even though that is super important and great work by all organizations that are doing this, it is a problem because, in my opinion, at least it's a problem, because you're dealing with the chain instead of dealing with the consumers. So basically for me, and that's what my dissertation was on, I think the main problem is the consumer. Where there is demand, there's going to be a need for supply. So if you reduce the demand, then you reduce, obviously, the supplies. I'm going to explain that more in my next video. I'm going to do a short video on demand reduction specifically, since it's a whole different subject. That's what my dissertation was focused on, and that's what I believe is a more effective way to deal with the illegal wildlife trade. So, other than that, it's still important, obviously, what these organizations are doing, that you have to work with poachers, you have to work with traffickers, like all of them, to totally eliminate the illegal wildlife trade. I just personally think it's more important to focus first on the consumers. It's more targeted, and it's the problem. So what can we do, right? It sounds like a really complicated issue that we can't help at all, right? You might be thinking that, like, I don't know, I live in Greece, for example, like, oh, there's no problem with illegal wildlife trade in Greece, or there's no problem in the US or France or wherever you are, you know. That is not true. The illegal wildlife trade is a global problem, and we can all help, even with like small ways. So first of all, something very simple everyone could do is download an app which is called Wildlife Witness. Okay, this is not a promotion. I just think it's really cool. It's a very, very smart idea and very easy for everyone to help out with this issue. Taronga Zoo have partnered with Traffic, the Wildlife Trade Monitoring Network, to create Wildlife Witness, which is the first global community action smartphone app in the fight against illegal wildlife trade. And basically this app allows tourists and locals to easily report wildlife trade by taking a photo, pinning the exact location of an incident, and sending these important details to Traffic. So that's a very easy, simple way you can help if you're traveling, or even just if you're in your own country walking around. Sometimes it could be even pet shops that are doing illegal wildlife trade. It doesn't have to be some crazy dude on the street with like a monkey or with like an ivory tusk. It could be pet shops. It could be other tourist shops. It could be your neighbor. Like, you never know. But with this way, you can just snap a picture or pin a location, send it off, and Traffic will deal with it. Traffic will investigate and deal with the issue. So that's very simple, but very, very crucial. Another thing we can all do is be aware of the products we buy and just do research in general. I think this is a good rule overall, because you want to know what is in your products that you consume, that you wear, that you use in general. But yeah, for example, sea turtle products is very, very easy to not always know. It looks a lot like plastic often, and in a lot of countries it's sold very cheap. The other thing, which I'll do a separate video on again because it's a huge topic on its own, is the illegal pet trade. But obviously, I mean, I'm not in support of owning exotic pets, whether that's reptiles or birds like parrots and stuff. But even if you have this overpowering desire to own an exotic pet, ask for the papers, ask for its origin, like the whole process, because there's so many animals that are taken illegally from their environment, transported illegally. They've gone through hell and back just so you can have a pet and look cool, which isn't really fair. So if you're going to get an exotic animal, please, please, please insist on the paper. Make sure that the animal has been brought here ethically and properly and has not suffered at all. Because even if it has suffered and you're like, you know what, I'm going to get it and I'm going to save it from the situation, good on you. Like, I've done that so many times at pet shops. I see birds, like especially little parrots, that look miserable, and I'm like, I just want to buy you so I can save you from this situation. And yes, you'll be helping that individual, but you have to understand, by doing that, you're feeding into the whole problem, because you're creating demand. They don't care why you're doing it. They don't care if you're doing it because it's terrible there and you feel bad for the animal and you want to save it. All they care is that they're taking your money. So even if you have good intentions in doing it, you're still feeding the problem, because you're going to remove that animal from the situation and it's going to be replaced by the next one. So keep an eye on that. I was all over the place, as usual. I got my rants. I'm sorry, guys. But yes, I think I covered most of the things I want for this time. If there's something I didn't cover, as I said, hopefully it'll come up in my next videos. Otherwise, please comment below any questions and I'll answer them either in the comments or in my next videos. I hope you enjoyed. I'm really excited for this mini-series, and I just wanted to apologize for being AWOL lately. I've been having some issues with my health, so that's why I've been focusing on myself, and I haven't been uploading any videos. But this is something that I'm very passionate about, I really love, and I'm gonna be trying to find time every week to upload a video. So, see you guys in a week. Don't forget to tell me which day you prefer for me to upload. Bye, guys.